step I take, I move my truth. Every time they tell me stop, I use every comment, hate that makes my fuel. Gather up my energy and boom, I hear them talking, saying the way that I move is so reckless. That is a part of my mind I've been blessed with, giving my blood so I am relentless.
This is the Keep Hammering Collective with Adam Cianciarulo.
Stoked to be here, man. Thank you for having me.
How was that?
You crushed it.
Yeah, I got it now. Well, at least for that time. But Adam, man, it's an honor to have you here. It's a pleasure. I knew you were a badass, but we put up a few posts today. People love you on social media, dude. What is the deal?
I guess it's just a lifetime's worth of work in a single industry, right? I've been super blessed to have a really supportive fan base, and it's really sustained me through, in my sport, in anything, a lot of ups and downs, right? And the fans have always been, it's just been the best part of it. My interacting with people, and you're just able to have some influence on people. And I've always tried to kind of maintain a positive attitude no matter what the circumstances are. And I find that people appreciate that, and I certainly appreciate them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this podcast is going to be so easy for me because you're so well-spoken and you're so good at this. And it's like, just no wonder that. So you mentioned your industry. What is your industry? Tell the people. I mean, I know because we've talked about it all day, but for those who don't know, tell me your industry and then tell me what you're doing now within it. Because as I mentioned, you're such a good spokesperson, but what are you up to?
Well, thank you. Yeah, my industry. So I was a professional dirt bike racer I raced my whole life since I was 4 years old. I'm 28 now. I had an 11-year pro career. So racing Supercross, which is inside stadiums, that's kind of the pinnacle of our sport is Supercross. I did that starting in 2014. And my last full season was last year, 2024. So retired from that recently, which we'll get into that. There's plenty there. But yeah, now I've moved into a broadcasting role, which has been very exciting. And it's actually something that I've kind of always wanted to do. It's not one of those things where you see a lot of athletes just get into broadcasting because that's kind of convenient. It's what they know. And it's always been something since, I was a big fan of the sport organically. From the time I was a kid, I just gravitated towards it and I loved it. And I used to hear Art Eckman was the play-by-play and David Bailey, they called him the professor because he could just break stuff down so well. I remember listening to them in the early 2000s. And as much as I wanted to be a racer, I also wanted to be that. And really? I think that's what people don't realize. I'm not here to, when it comes to this career, I'm very motivated. Like I want to work hard at it. I want to be the best I can be at it. And so it's been perfect. I mean, to stop racing May of 2024, and I think my first broadcasting gig was maybe 6 weeks later. And so I've had a great opportunity to go right into it. It's had its challenges, of course. Kind of learning to be an adult too at the same time, right? Yeah. Answering emails, doing all this adult type stuff you're just, I guess, not really used to doing as an athlete. But it's been so fun and rewarding, and I'm able to. I love my industry. Like I love the people that I'm around, and we have every weekend, every Saturday, there's 25 semis, and we call it the pits, the paddock, right? And just everybody in there, it feels like I've grown up with them. All those people, I have so many friends, and the fans have been great. And so the fact that I still have a job within the industry that I'm passionate about, I feel very, very blessed.
What is it? What's the draw? Is it like the big shows come into town and like everybody is hyped? Is that the excitement to it? The Saturdays, and here comes Supercross, and it's going to be a big show. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean, it really is just it's the closest thing to like gladiators in an arena besides like UFC type stuff, right? There's something so, in a way, so intimate about it, man and machine, and it really is. I mean, Supercross is such a big show. Opening, you hear a lot of riders talk about opening ceremonies, right? They introduce the riders, everybody picks their song, and those are the elite, really the 10 best dirt bike racers in the world get that opportunity. And I mean, I remember my first opening ceremonies like it was yesterday, right? Going into a packed stadium in Anaheim, 50,000 people on their feet, fireworks. And it's just it's what you grow up. It's what I grew up thinking about every day, right? It's the most, I guess, mainstream. It's the biggest platform we have. So if you perform on Saturday night, if you perform at a Supercross race, there's no higher. There's no higher than that. Yeah,
that's the pinnacle. And so you started that. You mentioned your first race. Did you win your first race? Isn't that right?
I did. Yeah, I did.
And you were what? If I do the math, 17 or 16 or how old?
17. So I went, started racing when I was 4. Of course, there's like an amateur motocross circuit, right? You go to all these, they're normally like week-long events. So it'd be the same schedule every year. You go to Texas for a couple events. You go to Las Vegas for the World Mini. We had this the biggest race as an amateur is called Loretta Lynn's. And so that's kind of where you get scouted. You get scouted by these teams. Teams will come and watch these young guys ride to look out, for future talent down the line. And back then, you could go pro at 16. I had a really good amateur career. Signed with Kawasaki in 2004 as a 7-year-old. They kind of brought me up through their Team Green program, and then I signed my pro contract. Signed the first pro contract when I was 14, which was like a big deal at the time. Nobody had really signed that young. And then I turned pro. It's crazy. It really is crazy when I look back now, because I was such a little kid when I turned pro. I mean, I looked
14.
I turned pro at 16, signing that contract at 14. But even
you look pretty young right now.
Yeah, I've got the baby face thing going on. But,
baby face killer.
Yeah, I was able to win my first Supercross race in the Cowboy Stadium in Arlington.
Whoa!
Actually, which was just
how many people were there? 50.
I mean, it had to. Yeah, I think it was a sold out crowd. So whatever that is, 50, 60,000.
Wow.
It was. I was still just a little kid. I look at pictures of me like on the podium from that night, and I was thinking I was so grown up, right? And
you're racing against men?
Yeah. I mean, my teammate at the time was, in his late 20s. There's a lot of guys in the 250 class. It can vary. There's a lot of 18, 19-year-old, not a lot, but there are a few really good. Hayden Deegan comes to mind in the 250 class. He's 19, so every once in a while, that teenager comes along and stirs things up. Like you can tell, like this guy's going to be good, right? If you're already that good, that young.
Yeah.
But I was out there racing against men, and I was able to win my first Supercross race, and just the best feeling ever. Something I'll never forget.
14 and
17.
17. Oh, sorry.
17. Signed the pro contract at 14. Yeah.
Won when you were 17. Okay. And then 17 years old. What was that payday like to win that?
So payday back then, it's so funny that you ask me this, because I've been trying to kind of push it in our sport more, talking about the kind of the financial side of things, because most of the time I tell people I race dirt bikes I tell people I race dirt bikes, and they're like, okay, well, what do you do for a living? Right? Like people aren't aware. It is kind of a niche sport that's growing, but I think my bonus structure at the time, I think it was like around 60,000. That I got from my team. So it was in the 250 class. I was racing for Kawasaki, but Kawasaki's factory team in the 250 class was ran by a man called Mitch Payton, who owns Pro Circuit. So it was Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki. Had a great relationship with those guys. But it was you can definitely make a fair amount of money at the top level. And I think as a 17-year-old, you win. Oh, man. I didn't even care, though, back then. I mean, 17, I was like, I just wanted to win. I would have done it for free.
Yeah, I get that. Well, I've talked about that, the business part of what I do also. And it's like we start off where we're just excited to be there. And then, as now you say, you're talking about the money because nobody ever talks about it. But that is, eventually, you're like, wait, I am kind of putting my body on the line out here. I'm working my ass off. This is what I'm doing, thinking about doing, training. You do deserve to be compensated. We start off like, this is incredible, this opportunity, it's all I've ever wanted. And then it's just like, wait, this is a business.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as a kid, like you said it, I think when I got into racing dirt bikes, I did it because it was fun. And I did it because I was competitive and I wanted to be better than the other guys. I didn't think about money at all. all I wanted to do was win. I was fortunate enough to be just in love with what I was doing, you know, and I was in dirt bike racing. There's only a handful of guys really in the grand scheme of it that are able to make a living and to set themselves up to, you know, retire at a young age. So yeah, I'm very fortunate.
Yeah.
Definitely, I had great opportunities, and of course, it has its bumps and bruises along the way, just like anything else. It was difficult, but it's so worth it, man. And I feel like I'm in such a good spot now. I get to do cool stuff like this with you. We were shooting bows earlier.
I know.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was. I just love, you know, the whole premise to this podcast is talking to outliers. It's like, what have my guests done to reach the top of their field, essentially, you know? So how did you become an outlier in what you do? So that's why you're here. And I see the comments. You're definitely, I mean, people are rabid fans of you. And so that's a testament to how you raced, how you carried yourself. I was curious when you're talking about the money part, you said Kawasaki, the team paid you, or who pays you if you win a Supercross event? It's not the event.
So you do get money from the event, yes. But a majority of the money comes from the factory. It was from Kawasaki.
I see.
Yeah, so that's normally yes, the event pays some, and now we have what we call the SMX World Championship, where our two series, Supercross inside stadiums and Pro Motocross that's in the summertime. They're two separate championships. They're two different disciplines. You ride Supercross a lot differently than you ride outdoors, right? And so they've basically combined them into being, we call it the SMX World Championship. So points are kind of combined between Supercross, Motocross, and then we have 3 playoff races in September at the end of the year. And that is a very, very big payday. Like, we've never seen anything like it in dirt bikes. You get $1 million, like you get $1 million in the 450 class if you are the SMX World Champion, and it's a big payout down the list of the top 20 guys. So that's just kind of been put into play over the last couple of years. 2023 was the first kind of inaugural year for the SMX World Championship, but it's such a big step for our sport to see that much money on the line, and I think it makes a lot of people, even casual fans, realize, wow, these guys are. You're really racing for something. Yeah.
And I would imagine too that it also gives more credence to the dream of becoming this, I don't know, the best in the world at something, because it's one thing to do it because you love it and you're like, you're not thinking about the money, but it's another thing when kids are watching and they hear their parents talking about it and they're like, you could win $1 million. Now this turns into, it's why kids always say, I want to make the NBA, right? I don't know if it's about the money, but it's just like being at the top.
It's part of it.
But then also that I can take care of my family. This is, generational type thing. I don't know who has that perspective, but that it's out there in this big payday, this big tournament, this big contest, whatever it is. And if you're the best, you could win $1 million.
Yeah.
That's going to get people hungry.
Yes. And the sport has changed so much from when I was, I started riding in 1999, 2000. The sport's changed so much. Now you have 6, 7, 8-year-old kids basically living full time at training facilities, right? Where back in, I can only speak from my experience. There was a couple little training facilities, but I grew up in this little town, Port Orange, Florida. Hour away was the closest track that I had. And, my dad and I would load the van up every day and we'd go drive and find a track, find wherever it wasn't raining to get our work in. So it was just it just becomes so much more serious, right? Yeah. And I think it requires, just like anything else, it requires such a sacrifice, and you got to be willing to give everything up. I gave up a normal life. Like I gave up, I was homeschooled from the time I was in 3rd grade, right? Like all that stuff. I went all in on dirt bikes, when I was 6 or 7 years old. And that's what you have to do to be the best and to be one of those guys. And it's nice to know now you're looking at that payday now, right? And you really have something to strive for, where back in my day, I knew I kind of knew once you get to be a teenager, I knew that there was good money in it if I was able to be one of the best. But it's definitely, there's a lot more opportunity in our sport now.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. Well, what was your mindset like for that first one that you won when you were 17, going against all those veterans essentially? And what was your mindset? I mean, did you have an advantage because you were young?
I think so. I mean, I think a little bit ignorance is bliss in a sense. I had a really good amateur career in terms of results. I won a lot. And so I was used to winning. I think my mindset was at the time, I do remember getting out front in that race and I wasn't surprised, right? You got to be able to.
You're like, this is what I do.
Yeah. And there's guys that it takes time, like to learn how to win a race and be at the front of the race with nobody else in front of you. That's like almost a different skill in itself. A lot of guys are not comfortable in that position, right? So I guess for me at the time, I figured, well, I was doing it as an amateur, so why would it be any different? I always wanted to be the best. I always demanded perfection out of myself at all times. And of course, it was kind of surprising in a sense because even leading up to the race in the off season, it normally takes kids a little while to learn Supercross because as an amateur racer, you're only riding motocross. At least back then, you're riding motocross only, which is there's different obstacles, different techniques, so many different things about Supercross that young guys have to learn. So
what's the biggest thing? So
we have an obstacle in Supercross called the whoops, which are basically like a series of dirt jumps, probably 5 to 10 feet apart, something like that, and you're basically having to kind of skim across the tops of them, right? And it gets difficult. Sometimes the whoops are bigger, sometimes they're smaller. As riders go through them, they get all chewed up in ruts everywhere, and so your bike is kind of all dancing around. So I guess that was the biggest thing. I mean, I remember going to a Supercross track for the first time and being scared to death to go through the whoops. Yeah. Right. Like it's a kind of a trial by fire thing. I definitely, that off season leading into my first Supercross race, I definitely had some times where I was on the ground. Yeah. I remember, I don't know if you ever watched like Nitro Circus. I have, yeah. And you'll see Travis wear like a full, basically like a chest protector, but a full kind of jacket almost of protection all the way down his arms and all. Like I literally used to put one of those things on to go and learn a whoop section because I essentially knew I was going to hit the ground. Yeah. Right? And it requires so much commitment you have to carry a lot of speed into it. So little things like that. But I guess, it was just like anything else. I guess I did it and I was like, well, I guess this is what I do. Yeah. Well, I'd love to hear it. I'm you said you're used to winning. So when you're out in front on that first race in the Supercross, what was your mindset? Because I could see where people would be like, I don't want to have to make these decisions on being a leader. They don't know what the pack's probably doing, what's going on back there. Like, what was your attitude? Like, I'm out front, I'm just going to make this gap. I'm putting the pressure on everybody and nobody can keep up with me. Or what were you thinking? It's a great question. I think, man, back then feels like a lifetime ago. Now, I think at the end of the day, it's all about, in anything in life, it's all about doing your absolute best. And it's hard to do these days, especially not comparing yourself to anybody, right? I had some of my teammates behind me. You're hearing the motorcycles and they're right there, behind you, right? And the key is, especially in Supercross, you got 60,000 people, you got a bunch of guys over the intercom, something you don't deal with as an amateur. So I think it was just about being present. And I think it's easier to do that when you're a kid, right? And you're a little bit less aware of what's going on. But I just remember locking in the moment, just doing everything I could. And I think sometimes I would just say to myself, if I do my best and it's not enough, it's not enough. And I could live with that. But I couldn't live with interfering with myself mentally and not getting the best out of myself. So if somebody was going to beat me, somebody's going to beat me, but I was doing my best. And I think that was always kind of my mantra throughout my career, right? Is just trying not to, because you go through so many ups and downs with injuries and everything else. There's plenty of wins, but there's plenty of really low moments too. And you really just got to stay honed in on you and stay present and do the best you can, get the most out of yourself.
What's that's a great attitude, obviously. But what's the highlight of your career now, looking back?
Highlight of my career. Well, this requires a backstory here. So you'll like this one. So in 2014, when I won 3 out of the first 5 races that I entered.
Your first pro races.
Yeah, my first Supercross pro races. So I had gone pro. I had done some pro motocross races, which is that was kind of the norm back then. You did the big race at Loretta Lynn's, your last amateur race, and then you would go pro and you would race some outdoors. So I did a handful of outdoors the year before and got some okay results, nothing crazy. But this was my first real full-time season. I never raced professional Supercross before. So 3 out of my first 5 wins there. And then it's 2 rounds to go. And never thought I would win the championship my first year, but I'm like 2 rounds to go. I had a good points lead, and I'm like
looking good.
I'm like, man, this is like they were saying this was hard. I'm like, what? This is no problem. And of course, as a kid, you just have so much confidence, and when you're winning, everything's coming easy. I mean, it just feels like you're floating, and you can do no wrong. Well, I go to Toronto, 2 races to go. I think 14-point lead, and I'd kind of injured my shoulder. In the gym, actually, in the off season. So I was riding with kind of a partially torn labrum. And of course, Toronto decides to just come out of my shoulder decides to come out of the socket in the middle of the race. And so I lost that championship. I pulled off the track during the race. I had the medics put my shoulder back in the socket. And I went out there and tried to keep riding, but couldn't do it. So I lost that championship, and then got back on the bike 4 months, kind of was losing that whole year. Couldn't race outdoors or anything. Got back on the bike. First day back on the bike in July, I tip over in a corner, weird angle. Bike hits me, broke my tib fib. And then, this is crazy, but came back. My next race, kind of a warm-up for Supercross, was in Geneva, Switzerland in December. Crashed. Shattered my socket in my shoulder, knocked myself out for 5 minutes, bruised my lung, did a bunch of different stuff. So I missed after winning those races in 14, I missed all of 2015 with injuries. I come back in 2016, break my wrist, right before the first race. So I missed all of 2016.
Wow.
And so you go from the highest of the highs to this guy is going to be the best ever, to I wasn't even sure if I had a place in the sport anymore. These are key developmental years, and you're losing time. You're not on the motorcycle. Everybody else is getting better.
So what were you doing?
Rehab, PT.
Every day?
Just working out and rehabbing my injuries.
Was that depressing?
Yeah, it was the first. I was living on my own. I moved out when I was 17. It was the training facility I was riding at was a couple hours away from where I grew up. So I'm on my own in this big house trying to learn how to do life. And it was really the first time I had dealt with any type of course, you have some adversity. As a kid, I had adversity in kind of more of a personal way, not so much results, but I always did so well. I never really had any crazy injuries. I had broke my arm or this or that, but so it was a lot, to feel like the sport's leaving you behind.
Going into 3rd year of injuries almost.
3rd year of injuries. And then I come back. So I miss all of 15, all of 2016, 2017, race Supercross, lose the championship by 1 point. Oof. Second.
Who beat you?
Zach Osborne. Yeah, it was this crazy race. I actually won the last race in Las Vegas, but it was him and my teammate were kind of battling for the championship, and Zach took my teammate out in the last corner. It was insane. I'll send it to you on YouTube. Okay. It's a good one to watch.
Yeah.
Zach Osborne, he's a good friend of mine now, but I didn't like him then at all. And then 2018 again, second place, by 3 or 4 points, right? Mm-hmm. So come to 2019. This was my last year of my contract in the 250 class. And I knew I had to make, this is a big year for me. I knew I had to make it happen. I knew it was now or never. I won 5 races that year, had my best year in Supercross by far, was pretty dominant.
Is it 5 out of 10?
I believe it was 8 or 9 races at the time. So
most of them.
Yes. And I felt the best I ever had. I mean, I put in a great off season leading up to that and felt like mentally I was right where I needed to be. And yeah, it was all there. And so we come into the last race again in Las Vegas. And I think the guy behind me, Dylan Ferrandis, he was second in the championship. He was 7 or 8 points, but down. And you get like 25 points to win. And so if he won the race, I had to get 4th or better, I believe. And so he's winning. We've got like 3 laps to go in the race. And I'm in 3rd, like cruising around. I mean, I'm not taking any chances.
So you're okay if you stay right there.
I'm in control. Even in my mind, like I was so calm and present, and there was nothing. I always felt so good when my back was against the wall. When I absolutely had to do something, I felt like there's so many times as a kid I made it happen, and I just had the confidence in myself to do that. And I crashed in the weirdest spot. I'll show it to you on YouTube, but it was like I could hit that section the way that I crashed. I could hit the section just how I hit it 100 more times and not ever do that one time. It was just like I came down, I landed on the backside of a jump, and there was just like a tiny little, almost like a little rut, like a little edge. And it's like, imagine you ever try to ride a bicycle or something over a garden hose. Yeah. And you know how you kind of like
catches.
So it basically did that, and it swung my back end into. We line the tracks, the way we outline the tracks, we have these things called tough blocks. And so it kind of slid my back tire into the tough block, eject, I go off the bike, fly into the air. Still would have been fine, but when I went to get back on the bike, my bike was destroyed. The bars, I couldn't even go, I couldn't really jump the jumps. I stayed out there out of principle just to finish the race, even though I knew I was going to lose. But just the worst. I mean, talk about traumatic. Like I told you, that 2014, going from here, going from so high, and then 15, 16, you're like, I don't even know if I can do this anymore. Working my way back all the way to being the best guy. And for me to blow it like that with 2 laps to go, I mean, $500,000 on the line for the championship bonus there. Not that money mattered at all to me at the time, but it's lot was on the line. It was my last chance to really win a 250 championship, I thought, because I was always better at the Supercross discipline than the outdoor discipline. I'd only won a couple times during outdoors, and I had like 12 wins in Supercross. So I thought, well, I just blew it. Like that was my shot and got to right there. And just, I mean, I still won't watch it. Like I still won't watch it back. I mean, it hurts, man. Like it really does.
Because you think like an inch or two, right? Or a reaction, some slightly different, just the tiniest. Why?
And I would be able to. I would have been able to. I think I've come to a place of acceptance. Like I think there might be a little part of me always that's like it bothers me, right? I mean, it was such a big thing, and I wanted to win a Supercross championship so bad, but I think I've worked through it enough to where it doesn't have any like negative impact on my life, but it's still like, dang it, I wish I would have done that. And so that was and this is where the good part starts.
Because this is supposed to be the story of your best.
Yes, but it has to go here. Yeah. It has to go here before it goes there.
Good, because I was getting depressed.
Yeah, I know, right? Same, honestly. And so we only had a 1 weekend off between the end of Supercross in Vegas and the start of the Pro Motocross Championship. And so I blew in Vegas, whatever, feeling bad, but got to get back, got to try, for outdoors. And I literally had only won 1 outdoor before. I didn't really have much, but I was so pissed off from that low of a moment. I won the first 4 outdoors in a row.
Whoa.
After only winning 1 in the 5 years prior.
Yeah.
Right.
What changed?
I think that I don't know. I felt like my back was against the wall. I felt like I didn't have an option. Like I had to.
You blew it in Supercross. Now you got to make up.
I have to. Yeah. And I knew that I was going. 450 next year. I knew I was making this step up into the premier division, and I'm like, I got to do it. So I won the first 4 in a row as a 12 race championship at the time, and yeah, I won the 2019 motocross 250 motocross championship, which was like, just it was. Still gives me goosebumps. I mean, that day in August, whenever it was, 2019, like just so many, all the stuff that you go through, right? All the down days when I'm 2015, 2016, where I'm wondering if I'm even going to continue to race anymore. And just that moment to me, it meant so much to me. And it was it was kind of like a encapsulation of my entire career, like the lows and the highs. And for that to come, if had I not blown it at Vegas, there's no way I would have won that championship, that pro motocross championship. There's just no chance I would have. And just for me to be able to, I look back and I'm so proud that I was able to overcome literally the worst moment of my life and then turn that into something that I couldn't even imagine. Like the performances that I had, how I was riding, the competition that I was racing was so high. And so it was just, it was incredible. And so as low as the Vegas moment was, it set me up to do something that I never thought I would be capable of. And it taught me so much in terms of life, right? Like when we all think we have so much control over our lives and the way we want it to go. And so now when I want to do something, it doesn't quite work out. I'm not, I don't waste time punching walls. Right. I'm like, it's set me up for something. Yeah. And I just thought that was such just a lesson that was in broad daylight, so simple, and just, it was really cool to be able to turn it around like that.
Black Rifle Coffee, they're the only coffee I drink, and supporting them is supporting veterans and the outdoor community. One of my favorite packages that I get on a monthly basis is a Black Rifle Coffee Club exclusive coffee roast. The only way you can get it is if you subscribe to the coffee club. The exclusive coffee club subscription gives you nothing but the best. It's a coffee of the month club where you get premium roasts from the best farms worldwide. Black Rifle Coffee is America's coffee. It's veteran owned and operated. They support hunting and conservation and give back immensely to the veteran community. They're offering followers of the podcast 20% off on your first purchase to the coffee club, or order on their site using code KEEPHAMMERING to get America's coffee today. Using Grizzly coolers over the past few hunts, I've been so impressed with their American-made brand that I decided to do a Keep Hammering line of coolers with them. The coolers are now available to purchase at grizzlycoolers.com/keephammering. And if you use code KEEPHAMMERING, you get 20% off anything you purchase. These coolers are proudly made in Decorah, Iowa, and everything is superior quality. I wouldn't use anything but the best because keeping my harvest clean and cold on the way to the processor is at the utmost importance. They are actually called Grizzly coolers because they are put through bear resistance testing and are certified to provide optimum safety, durability, and performance in the most extreme conditions. So go get the best coolers available at grizzlycoolers.com and use code KEEPHAMMERING for 20% off at checkout. And I'm wondering if I'm thinking about when I've had a lot of pressure, was it, do you think it was so powerful and felt such relief because you won, or because I'll just say, like, sometimes I go on these premier hunts and they're expensive. There's a lot of pressure. There's like the best elk hunting in the world. Mostly I just don't want to screw it up. And I just want to honor the effort, honor the opportunity, honor all my work. And when I do it, I'm like, it's like a relief almost. It's, yes, I'm happy. Oh, I did it. But it's just like, I don't have to deal with the thought or like failing and how bad failing hurts. So it's like, sometimes I don't know if I love that I did what I was supposed to do or that I didn't fail. Because failing, you talk about like winning is great and it feels good, but the pain of failing is like 10 times worse than that high.
I always say that I hated to lose more than I wanted to win. And there was definitely that, and you'll hear guys talk about that still. It's that sense of relief, and great champions in every discipline. But I think I gave myself no choice. I think I thought to myself, I don't know how I'm going to live with myself if I don't. Like, if I don't win this and I have to deal with the idea of just blowing the championship and then moving on to 450s without a title.
Yeah.
If I had, I don't know how I'm going to live with myself. So I had to. Every time I put something in my mind like that, I had to do something, I almost always did it.
How much outside pressure was there?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
So did it get that pressure off you too? Or how did your family interpret your success?
How did my family interpret my success? Well, that's maybe a story for a whole different podcast. We could go on forever, but I will say that kind of at the time, I've always had very supportive parents. My dad, I wouldn't have been able to, reach the level I did without his time and his effort. And that's greatly appreciated. My mom too. My mom is just the biggest sweetheart ever. I mean, she's my hero. She really is. And of course they were happy for me, but they were actually, a lot of personal stuff behind the scenes, just, kind of family drama stuff was going on during that year. I was having my best year ever, even though I, messed up Vegas. In terms of wins and where I was at, I was the best I'd ever been. And all that kind of personal stuff was kind of just lingering in the background, right? And so I didn't even have a family member at my race, at the last race when I won the championship, And so it really I think it really put it into perspective for me. I think that's one of the reasons why I was able to handle the pressure, because it was kind of the same situation going into the last race of pro motocross. I mean, I had a bigger points lead, but you still got to get over the line. You're still, you got Vegas lingering in your head, oh man, you blew it last time, right? And I think the fact that I was always so driven to win, and I didn't have time for any type of broader perspective. I didn't care. I just wanted to win. And I think that family, the family stuff going on in the background, I think it was really made me look at it from a different perspective for the first time of hey, you can be having all this success and all these results, but if you don't have this, you don't have the people you love around you and, just along for the ride, it's not as fun. It's not as cool. So I think in a way, I think that helped me. That helped me deal with the pressure.
You had a chip on your shoulder, or you said your family wasn't there. So it was you're going to win in spite of them, kind of I'm going to show you that I can do this on my own. Yeah.
Yeah. There was some of that. Yeah. There's some of that. I kind of, it's tough. It's, you know what I mean? It's hard to talk about that kind of stuff, but
nobody wants to, family.
But I mean, there's definitely part of that of me, I really took the reins of my own program that year. And it was really important to me, not to prove to really anybody else other than myself of I was always so good at following orders as a kid, right? Dad was my coach. He pushed me hard and I would do what I was told and no questions asked. I'm doing it. And I think I wasn't sure if I could do it without that type of support without having with me having full control over my program, making decisions and doing all that kind of stuff. I kind of took a chance on myself going into that year. And so personally, to prove to myself that I was capable of doing that meant a lot to me. It still means a lot to me. Even just in my personal life, the fact that I stepped up to the plate there and, the fact that I got it done was cool.
And you were 20 at that time? Was that, you said, or wait, how old were you? 23?
I must have been 22 or 23.
Okay. Yeah. So that's still damn young. But when you think about, you went pro at 14 and you're doing this whole thing, you're making this money, you have a career.
Yeah.
So you've had a career now at this time for maybe 9 years. You're used to pressure.
Definitely. Yeah.
Still doesn't make you immune to it, immune to there's pitfalls.
Yeah.
Think about your family and your challenges there and the pressure you're feeling from that. And then like, well, no, I want to be my own at 23, make your own decisions. So it's like, do you think that your journey there and coming through that is why you're such a good resource to these young riders? Because do these riders have the same type of pressure? Because they need family to get there because they're kids. And then it turns into this career.
Yeah.
And is that how you can offer such good advice?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't currently at the moment, I don't really have any formal role in anybody's program or, of course I have friends that race and, but just in terms of, what I'm able to offer the sport long-term, I'm big on just contributing to your community, contributing. I want to see the sport grow, and that's a big reason why I'm in the position I am now. I think it's you have a lot of responsibility sitting in that seat and calling the races, of doing it the right way. But I think my perspective is definitely unique because I was more or less the golden child. From the time I was 5 or 6 years old, for whatever reason, I got on a dirt bike right away and I was just good. I was jumping jumps that nobody else was when I was 5 years old, and you stand out, you get sponsored, you get the target on your back, everybody wants to beat you, and you feel like everybody's waiting for you to fail. We kind of do that in society. We build people up and they come tumbling down at some point. But I always had to carry that. I always had to carry this, this sense of these expectations, these outside expectations. And it was difficult. But that being said, dealing with all of the things that I dealt with and all the things that happened, I was talking to you at lunch about this, but it's just, I can't even imagine if it didn't go the way it did for me to, one of those things, it's like, I just feel like I'm in such a good spot now. I have everything that I want in life. I'm in a dream. I have a dream opportunity to be doing this broadcasting so quickly out of racing. I never thought it would happen this quick. So I think it set me up, and it wasn't the way that, to be honest, my career didn't go the way that I thought it would. I thought I'd win more. I thought I would be the greatest of all time. Right. And I'm not that, but I think it's just what happened needed to happen.
Well, and you mentioned a few times perspective, and I think that perspective is probably what makes you great at calling races and also getting into the minds of the riders, so you know what the pressure they're going through, so you can maybe articulate it. You talked about your community and protecting your community. It's like that perspective and that glimpse into how they're thinking, how they're interpreting different challenges, race day, wrecking. That gives you, because you've lived it, and that's why they always want athletes to call these not races, but other sports, like basketball, they have but not all those guys are good at articulating, the details or the emotional part. They were great players,
right?
But it feels like, and from the feedback I've got from people who are deep into it, which I'm not, but it's like you have that respect and you have just that tested in the fire mentality and the metal that it took, and now you can kind of explain that to the viewers.
Yeah, and to be real, I mean, I love this sport, and that doesn't always happen, right? I mean, this has been a job for me since I was 8 years old, 10 years old. Had those expectations, had ups and downs. A lot of times there's guys that retire that were, great racers, but it's almost like they're bitter at the sport, right? Like they don't like it as much. And through everything for me, that's what sustained me. It's like, I'm in love with this damn sport, man. Like I just love it, and I always have. And so I take a lot. I mean, it's just brings me joy to do this job and to watch these guys. I love watching racing. I love breaking it down. And And yeah, having that perspective, having the experience. I was telling you at lunch, but I think as a broadcaster, what you say on the air, like I'm responsible kind of for some of these narratives. A lot of fans will kind of latch on to some of the things that broadcasters say, right? And you have the first take on what's happening. This guy runs into this racer, The way that you react to that is kind of how a lot of the fans are going to feel about it too, right? So for me to make my perspective as educated as possible, to break it down as fairly and, breaking it down in a way that these fans can kind of digest it. I take a lot of pride in doing that, and I really work hard on doing that the best I can. That being said, I mean, I can definitely be better, right? I mean, I'm early in this thing, and I'm still learning, trying to learn as much as I can. Luckily, I have a lot of really good guys working, that I'm able to work with. One of those guys, Ricky Carmichael, the greatest of all time, right? So these guys have been nothing but kind to me and just very helpful. So that's been part of the fun of this new gig too. It's just as a racer, it's kind of like everybody else.
Yeah.
Excuse my language, right? But it's like, yeah, and this kind of to be a part of this team, like this whole broadcasting team, the camaraderie behind it, it's really fun, man. It makes me grateful for my community, as I said.
I bet. Yeah. I mean, so I've been saying rider, you say racer. Am I not supposed to say rider?
Oh, you can say rider.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
Yeah. No, you're good, man.
Well,
we're loose. We're loose. Our community's loose, man. What
I was thinking about when you were saying that, about you take great pride in being fair, calling it, with perspective, I think, and probably said that too many times now, but it makes me think of, how the guys in the NBA now, they don't like the old heads talk, kind of talking shit on them, like, oh, these guys couldn't play in the 90s. It's way too physical. So I get what you're saying about sometimes people are bitter, because sometimes you hear these old NBA players and you're like, man, are they bitter that they didn't make all the money these young guys are making? And, now it's all offense. Defense it used to be a defensive league back in the 90s, the
hand
Jordan rules.
checking.
Yeah. And just so physical. And now they're like, wow, Jordan would average 50 in today's game. So I do get that, where the old heads can get a little bit bitter, and for whatever reason.
Yeah, I think, like you said, luckily for us, the guys like Ricky Carmichael is kind of he's been the main guy in the booth in terms of analysts for the last probably 10 years or so. And that guy loves the sport just like I do.
What makes him good at calling races?
What makes him good at calling races is, I mean, his perspective is gold, because what he was able to do, I mean, it's not even, you look at his record, is he won 10 outdoor championships in a row, never lost.
In a row?
Never lost. From 1997 to 2006, then 2007 he was semi-retired. And won every race he did on the semi-retired schedule, right? So just the experiences and what he did is almost like alien. So to get his analysis on something, I mean, it's like having Michael Jordan call an NBA game, right? Those words are gonna mean more,
right?
And just the fact that, that guy's probably got $50 million in the bank. He could be on a boat in the Bahamas, but he's getting on a plane, every Friday, coming to the races, doing it. I just think it's a great asset, for the sport to have the greatest to ever do it in the booth, right? It just shows that I feel like a lot of people in our sport share my perspective in terms of like how much we love it. It really is like a passion project as well.
Yeah, then I was thinking of, you talk about the GOAT, because Tom Brady, he went into the booth and he got mixed reviews on how he was calling games. And he's the GOAT. And it's like you'd hear a few times, he did have some great, he analyzed great and great insight. Sometimes he would kind of judge the quarterbacks for their decision making, this and that. And I don't know if that's part of it, but there's probably a way to present that better.
I think there's so much stuff that goes into, I had as a racer, when I was injured, sometimes I had opportunities to do some some guest commentating. I knew this is what I wanted to do post racing when I was 15. So every chance I got, whether it was trackside reporting or up in the booth or anything, I did it. And so I had an idea of everything that's involved. Producer talking in your ear, all the meetings, and just how they want you to present kind of the sport, right? But yeah, it's quite a lot. It's quite a lot of work, and it's harder than you would think.
I bet.
Right, and it's easy to sit. Even when I'm watching a basketball game or I'm watching a football game, I'm sitting on the couch. I'm like, "Wow, you should have said that. You should have said this, whatever." It's hard. It's hard, and I think broadcasting is one of those things that's so subjective. Like one person's going to love what you say, the other person's not. So you got to kind of my previous career of racing has set me up perfect for this because I know I'm going to get criticized, right? Every Hall of Fame commentator there is, Mike Tirico, Joe Buck, all these guys, Jim Nance, they all take their licks on social media anytime they call an event, right? That's just kind of the nature of the game. So I take the same mentality I did in racing, do my best, try to improve, listen to the people around me, and it's a perfect opportunity.
You mentioned Ricky Carmichael and what makes him good. You also mentioned a couple other announcers earlier. I can't remember their names now. That were like you wanted to be like them, or they were.
Oh, yep, David Bailey, Art Eckman.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So what made them good? Why were they good at what they did? Well,
Art Eckman, he was the play-by-play guy, or I think in most of the '90s. I mean, I started watching in like '99, so. For one, nostalgia. Let's just get that out of the way, right? I'm a kid. I'm falling in love with this sport, and these voices are. Art Eckman just had a perfect play-by-play voice, just a strong voice, and you just wanted to hear. You just liked the way he talked. Really, though he was super concise. And David Bailey, who is kind of, I guess, was in kind of my role now as an analyst, former champion, former racer. I told you they called him the professor because he was just the way he was able to break down like really complex things that are going on out there. I mean, to ride a dirt bike that as fast as these guys ride around the track, I could sit here and talk about it for 5 days, like with all the things that you have to do and what makes this guy special, like all these little things that he's doing. I think the key is the way that David was able to kind of break down these really complex things and make them digestible to a wide range of audience, right? Because you're not just talking to the hardcore fans. If I was talking about just hardcore fans, I wouldn't talk the way that I talk, right? You have to cater to the audience, right? Which is casual fans, people just tuning in. Sometimes we have shows that are on NBC and like kind of like more of a primetime slot. So we're kind of trying to cater to more of a casual fan audience, right? So I think just being able to break things down and making it easily digestible for people. That's what the challenge of it is for me, and that's what I find so stimulating, right? It's just trying to articulate these things the best I can.
Yeah, that's what I like about UFC and when Rogan calls, obviously most people aren't black belts in jiu-jitsu. So he's kind of stepping them through what's going on, what the move is, what they need to be aware of, what the fighter should be doing. So it's like, it's not talking to black belts because they already know that. It's talking to the casuals. And that's why UFC is blown up. So it's like you being that liaison between the pros and the casuals, that's what you see.
That's the sweet spot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Oh, did we do our ketones yet?
Oh, let's do it,
Have
man.
you tried it?
Oh, Ketone IQ. I've been all over this stuff for years.
Do you know Michael Brandt? He's the CEO.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Should I give him my address right here on?
You should.
Right here on the the spot.
No, give him your cell phone number. Right. Nobody listens to this. You'll be fine.
Nobody. I'm having a tough time with this cap here. Here we go.
There you go. Now we're going to really ramp up our conversation.
I want to be locked in.
Yeah. Do you know where Locked In started?
No.
What's that guy's name? David somebody? Do you guys know who that is? Who shit his pants running?
Yeah. Goggins?
No, not David Goggins. He never shits.
He never shits?
No, he's a machine. David Clark. Davis Clark.
Oh my gosh. I know Davis Clark.
So that's locked in.
Yeah.
So remember, he would say you got to get locked in.
You got to stay locked in. I actually have a comment on one of his posts.
Yeah.
I said, you know how everybody says it's a bad day to whatever under his.
Whatever.
I said like. He said something. I'm like, it's a bad day to take full accountability for your mistakes or something. It's got like 25,000 likes. It always pops up on my feed. Yeah, that guy's awesome.
I had one too that did that. And
really?
Yeah. And I said, he shit his pants running Boston. You know, my other hat says nobody cares, work harder.
Yep.
So I said nobody cares, shit harder.
No.
And that got a lot of likes.
You got to put that on a t-shirt.
Well, it's just because he shit his pants.
Yeah.
And he showed it like in the race, he's got shit running down his legs. That's locked in.
That's wild.
That is locked in, though.
Hitting those spreadsheets. You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah, I was just asking True, my son, I said, is Davis Clark still posting? I don't know if I fell out of the algorithm, but I haven't seen his
stuff.
The
algorithm's weird.
Yeah.
Like the algorithm's so weird. I'll have 150,000 views on my story one day and then like 8,000 on the next. Could post the same picture. It's weird. You got to get Davis Clark on here.
I know. He came out to California one time, I think, for business, and we were going to try to make it work, but it didn't work.
I'm sure it'll happen at some point.
Yeah. No, I love his attitude. He's pretty funny. I mean, and he's like talking about going into the office on Friday because nobody wants to work Fridays. I think he's must be Boston.
Yeah, it looks
maybe
like
somewhere back there. But yeah, he's locked in with the spreadsheets on Friday.
Got to stay locked.
Yeah, I love it.
You got to stay locked in for this 240 miler you have coming up.
250.
250?
Yeah. Wow. That's going to be rough. Well, you're ready now. You did Pisco.
That's true.
Yeah.
So. Well, we did an interview this morning. Like we did a little, cameras following. We were talking, getting to know each other, going up that climb this morning. I was doing my best.
You did great
to not look like I was sweating at all. You were trotting up there pretty good, man.
You crushed it.
But I felt good. Opened me up a little bit. Got the blood flowing.
What was the best part of the day?
Best part of the day might have been that view from the top.
Yeah.
Or doing 65 in our Kawasaki side-by-side in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Hey, we didn't get pulled over.
I know. We were trying to get that mugshot picture. That's what I wanted.
We could sell some serious merch off that.
I love it. Yeah. Who did we say just got that was Deegan, right?
Hayden Deegan. Oh, yeah. Hayden Deegan. Yeah.
I need one of those shirts.
Yeah, you'll get one. I'm sure. You go over to his rig this week, and I'm sure you talk to Brian.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll get you one sized up.
I got
doing donuts in an Audi R8, I think.
Was it?
Yeah, on an off weekend. So I bet he's probably sold 50 grand worth of merch off it already. So
I'll pay for that bail.
Yeah, it's only $1,000, so that's no problem.
See, that's just a good business decision.
Absolutely,
wasn't it?
Right? Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's pretty funny.
I was thinking about something. What was I thinking? Oh, so you said you mentioned wrecking, kind of that 1 year, obviously, with 2 laps left. Then you mentioned another race or somebody wrecked. What is your feelings when you're doing great and somebody takes you out? I mean,
rage.
Yeah. Does that turn into big issues for the racers?
Well, so you have guys, most of the guys at the top level of the sport race, just like in F1 most of the time, you don't see anybody going and spinning out Lewis Hamilton on purpose to pass him, right? There's like an etiquette involved, and like the best racers there are, Eli Tomac, Jet Lawrence, Chase Sexton, those are kind of the guys at the top right now. Like they'll pass you aggressively, but unless it's for like the championship or unless a person ran into them and they're paying them back, like they leave the guys some room, and there's a way to do it right and not knock people down. I mean, rubbing is racing, but when you're intentionally going in, trying to put the guy on the ground, to me, that's not great etiquette. And some people might call me soft for that, which I get, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've taken my fair share of people out. I've been taken out plenty of times. But yeah, I mean, there are guys out there. Justin Barsha is like the guy in our sport. They literally call him Bam Bam. Like that's his nickname.
Yeah.
Bam Bam. And he is just the most aggressive racer there's ever existed. Like if you pass him, you know, if you're not like hugging the inside of the turn in the next turn, like you are getting blasted into the stands,
Really?
right? So there's guys out there that you have to take into account, like how you pass them, right? And you, like if I passed Justin Barcia, you better believe that next half lap was going to be the fastest I would do all day because I need to get some space from him, right?
Yeah.
But definitely just this past weekend, Jason Anderson, who was my teammate my last couple of years on Kawasaki, he's a former Supercross champion, great rider. He's one of the more aggressive guys on track. And Chase Sexton, who's second in the championship right now, is coming through the pack and took him out, right? And just that's, it's definitely...
Is it an accident?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think it was an accident, right? But like, I think if you take somebody out, especially somebody aggressive like Jason, like Chase knows he's got it coming now. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
Like he's always got to be looking out for the 21, right? So that's part of the way in taking somebody out. Yeah, maybe sometimes it'll be easier to pass them. It's almost a lazy pass, you know, taking somebody out. To get by somebody clean is harder. But if you make enemies, like you don't want a bunch of enemies out there. And if you go running into everybody, like those guys will put you down, right? So it's like it's kind of a bit of a chess game. Like sometimes you do have to take somebody out, but yeah, it's very important not to make too many enemies. It's hard enough as it is.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. You want to be aggressive.
Yeah.
But not overly aggressive.
Totally.
With the enemies. Yeah, it's does it ever happen where so we got one teammate winning, another team maybe coming up. Does somebody on that the team that's winning take out the guy who could beat him ever? Is it ever like a lower tier guy take out the challenger for the top just for his teammate?
Off the top of my head, it does. I'm sure it's happened. Like I'm sure it's happened here and there. But most of the time, I mean, yes, it's a team sport in a sense. We have teammates, but it's a solo sport. Okay, really. I mean, you're not. It's kind of good etiquette. I mean, you're not going to race your teammate overly aggressive, right? But there's not a whole lot of. There's not really a team atmosphere. I mean, you have your team guys in the truck. Right, and everybody's on the same. But even in the 450 class, like I have my own. Like last year, my last year racing, I have my own crew chief. I have my own mechanic. So it's like two separate teams within a team, right? So we're all out there for ourselves. Yeah. At the end of the day, sometimes at the end of a championship, if one of the guys on the team is in position to win the championship, like you may be asked to let somebody by. Like if he's going to win the title.
How are you asked? Like, what do you mean?
I can think of one time that I was asked, and it was just like before, like it was, we do our practice and stuff during the day, and then we have like a couple hours downtime before the night show starts, before the main, the main show starts. And it was just like, hey, this guy's in position to win, and you may be asked to, step aside, basically. And let him through.
And were you?
But it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. No, I won that race. Oh,
yeah. Well, So you can ask me, but no, I'm going to win.
It really, right. It really doesn't. It doesn't happen. It's nowhere near like a Formula One or anything like that. It's very rare when it happens.
I see. I was just curious. I just know how competition works, and it's like there's only one winner. What does it take to be that guy?
There's definitely a lot of discussion over if that's right or not. But it's funny how in some sports it's totally accepted, and then in our sport it's very, there's been some instances where the fans are definitely bummed out, like where somebody lets somebody by. Right. But it's rare. Once every 10 years maybe.
What? And I should know this. I should be more, but I'm the casual who you're educating.
You're good.
So. In a Supercross, say, championship final, everything's at stake. How long is that race?
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Plus one lap. So you leave the gate, the timer starts.
Okay.
Whenever that timer gets to 0, the next time you cross the finish line, it's white flag, one to go.
One lap.
So it used to be for the 250 class, which is, where I won my first Supercross. When you go from amateur to pro, you race the 250 class, and that's the displacement of the motorcycle, 250cc engine. That's 15 minutes plus one lap. And then the premier class, 20 minutes plus one lap. It used to be 15 laps for 250s, 20 laps for the premier class, 450s. But now it's better for TV because some tracks are different every single weekend.
Yeah.
There's a new design. And so sometimes the lap time might be 45 seconds and sometimes it might be a minute and 15 seconds, right? So it's just a way to where you know exactly how much racing, the fans are going to see.
Is the clock counting down or up?
Down.
Down. So it starts at 20.
Starts at 20.
Okay, it goes down. It seems like...
You're going to have fun this weekend.
I know. It seems like, tell me if this is right or wrong, but for 20 minutes plus a one lap, you're, Davis Clark, are you locked in on every single sec? I mean, you can't... Has your mind ever wandered and then you rack and you're like, what? How did I lose focus? Does that ever happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely in it's something that you have to learn. I think it comes with experience, kind of being able to keep because everybody's mind wanders.
Yeah.
Everybody's mind wanders, but it's what you do with it. It's how disciplined you are about bringing it back, right? And focusing on the task at hand. But I mean, yeah, it gets to a point where, especially like in practice, we normally have the same Supercross track that we practice on during the week. We call it like the test track. I mean, I could be thinking about, going to Chuck E. Cheese and jumping in the ball pit. I don't know, that's random, but I could be thinking about that.
How about a girl that you saw?
Yeah, yeah, something like that. Like I could be thinking about something completely different and do laps and be fine. So much of it's muscle memory, right? But very important to stay locked in. And really, it's not a situation where you just go out there and it's like, of course, you're trying to go as fast as you can, but there's strategy to it too. You have to know where to put your effort. It's like working smarter, not harder, right? So there's different sections of the track that you need to put a little bit more emphasis on. People know their strengths and their weaknesses, right? And it's like, how do you kind of mitigate some of these weaknesses? What can I do here? What can I do there? So there's a lot of like strategy involved with it. A lot of the 250 class, like the young kids, they just go out there and try to go as absolutely fast as they can the whole time. But there's an art to winning races, right? And it's a lot of times the fastest guy doesn't win.
Do you see racers now that you're like, they need to change their approach, or you see mistakes they make? Can you see those from the booth with all your experience and everything? Can you watch and be like, man, this guy would have a lot better, more success if he raced this way? Like they got the talent, they're just not implementing it right. Do you see that?
Yeah. I mean, it's so easy for me to see from an outside perspective, right? It's a whole lot of different story. I mean, when you're in it,
that's
right.
I mean,
If I could,
life, right?
Yeah, and if I could take a look at myself, like if I could be calling my own race 2 years ago or whenever it was, it would be the same thing. I would be like, well, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? It's harder to change when you're in it, of course. But yeah, that's part of the fun. It's part of the fun. It's like everybody's doing their best, and
what they think is their best.
What they think is their best.
Skill set.
Exactly.
Yeah. You can't see the forest of the trees type thing. Sometimes you're so close to it. What I was curious, when you were saying that, these tracks, do you ever show up to a track when you were racing and be like, this is my event? You just know how it was laid out, that it just fit your skill set?
Yes, in a way. Like we'll look at track maps the week. So it's for Supercross, they build the track the week of on the stadium floor, but they come out with the kind of the track maps almost like 6 months in advance. So you can take a look at and you can kind of get a general idea of, if somebody's really good, like I told you about the whoop section being very technical. It's a lot of time to be made or lost in a section like that. There's guys that are really good in there and not so good. You see somebody that's amazing in whoops and they see a track map with 3 sets of whoops on it, right? Obviously, you're going to think that, you're going to do better there. For me, it was always like it was a vibe. It was like an energy, right? It was just how I felt when I got off the plane. It's like sometimes I just knew. Like sometimes I just knew it was it. Like I was winning. That's kind of the way it always was. And for me, anytime it rained, I was like, let's go, baby.
Really?
I got this.
Why is that?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I can trace it back to one story of when I was a kid. And it was the week before like our biggest amateur event. We did a week-long race in Oklahoma. They called it Ponca City. And then you would do that, and then you would go to Loretta Lynn's after, kind of besides the point. But I remember I was racing at the time. It was an 85. It was like the 85cc open. So it was like 10 to 16 years old. And I'm like 10. Like I'm on the, most 10-year-olds wouldn't even try to race that class.
Because you're the golden child, remember?
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, golden child. And I remember I always hated the mud because I won everything else. And if it rained, it kind of levels the playing field a little bit. So when it rained, I was like, that was kind of some of the only times I was scared of losing. But I remember for whatever this day, August 2008, I remember I did this 85cc open. It was practice, I think. But I was racing against guys older than me that I never really raced against traditionally, right? You never get a chance. 85cc open, that class isn't at every event, right? So I was racing guys like Eli Tomac, some of these amazing riders that were 4 years older than me or whatever. And I just remember I went out there and I was just so fast. Like my lap times, I don't even exactly remember what it was, but I remember that day when I got done with that practice as a 11-year-old kid, 10, 11-year-old kid, ever since then, every time it rained, I was like, let's go, baby.
Got it.
Let's go. I got it. Yeah, I have no idea why, but it's funny. It's just little moments like that. And I think the rain is just so much about attitude, really.
Yeah.
You know?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You mentioned like sometimes you'd get off the plane and you just knew you were going to win. Like you had that. How did you get that mindset? Where did that come from? Was that from watching other athletes like a Jordan where you looked at him, he looked confident all the time. So where did your confidence, where was it cultivated from?
Work.
Yeah, just putting in work.
Like I told you, and a lot of kids do this. It's more popular. I guess it's more of a popular thing now to kind of go all in at a younger age. But when I say I was all in, I mean I was all in. I wanted nothing else to do with anything. Like I didn't want to go to Disneyland. I didn't want to go to my cousin's birthday party. I didn't want to do anything else other than win dirt bike races, and I would do whatever it took.
Like what was that? Was that just reps on the track, riding?
Yeah, I mean it was
training.
I think at the end of the day, greatness comes down to deliberate practice. It's like how much attention to detail are you keeping when you go out there? Everybody can go out there and ride laps. We can all go out there and do a 20-minute moto, but it's like, are you really locked in and focused on getting 1% better, like getting better at, the whoop section or doing this or doing that. And I think the intensity in which I worked from such a young age, I think I thought to myself, there's no way in hell anybody else is doing this. So that gave me confidence that, nobody was doing what I was doing. And I worked hard enough, and I didn't doubt. I couldn't do anything else. Like there was nothing left for me to be done. And so I think that's where my confidence started. And I think I was just a crazy competitive, like I was just really competitive. And I'm not really so much that way anymore. I think the trials and tribulations of life have, shown me a lot more perspective, where it's kind of hard to be that, I guess, kind of that all in mindset, F everybody, and this is all that matters. And because in a way it's a selfish place to, live. But if you want to be great, you want to be the very best at something. I mean, that's how you have to be. And I was just competitive. I mean, I wanted to kill those kids. Like I wanted to embarrass them. Like that's just how I was.
Yeah, that's unique for a kid. It's, did that ever, how did that manifest on the track? I mean, were any other kids like that, or did you ever have issues with that fire?
I think my biggest hurdle maybe as a kid would be I didn't lose a whole lot, but when I did, I guess really didn't even matter on results. I was just scared to death of losing. Like I just didn't I just really didn't want to lose, and it just caused me a lot of stress. I think that was maybe like the downside of it. Yeah, I mean, you get, of course, with anything that, you care about a lot. You're going to get your identity wrapped up in it a bit. And I didn't have a chance to, wasn't something, dirt bikes wasn't something I got into when I was 18 and I already kind of established who I was. It is who I was completely, 100%. So when I was doing bad on a dirt bike, I was a bad person.
You're like failing as a human.
I was a complete failure. And, that's some of that 2015, 2016 is overcoming that, right? But
that's a lot of pressure for a kid, though.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. I mean, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of time. My dad was with me. I have a younger sister, and my mom, of course. So it was me and my dad on the road a lot. And like, I've always been a pretty aware person, even when I was a kid, and just knowing that they were like how much people were sacrificing. And it's like, if I don't win this race, if I don't turn this into something, like I couldn't bear that thought of like doing all this, seeing all these sacrifices being made around me, and even just going through what I was willing to give on a personal level. If I didn't, like, just the amount of suffering I was willing to put up with as a kid in order to make it. It's a lot. It was happening for me, and I wanted to, even if I didn't get there, I wanted to do everything I could. I wanted to do the best. I felt like I had that responsibility, to do my best, even as a young kid. And there's definitely some psychological implications of that, as you move forward later in life, that I definitely had to deal with.
Yeah, there could be some scars from that. I was curious, how much, maybe not when you're a kid, or maybe when you're a kid, but did you visualize? Like, how much is visualization part of racing?
Yeah, I visualized, I would sit on the starting gate. And so for one, as an amateur, a big part of why I was good there was because I never stopped watching races. I mean, there's a million classes happening. There's racing all day. The track's changing all day. And I would always be out there on the track, looking at lines, watching the track develop, right? And so I would sit there on the gate, and I would close my eyes, and I would go through, imagine myself getting the whole shot, imagine myself the feeling that's going to give me, going into the first corner, not seeing anybody to my right or to my left. And I would visualize, I knew exactly where I was going to go. Like on the first lap, I knew every single line throughout the entire track where I was going. And so I would sit there and close my eyes and just do laps in my head of, hitting those lines and doing that. And I did that my whole career.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the visualization, even it's more like daydreaming in a sense, but there would be times where I would be almost, I knew what I was going to say on the podium because I had rehearsed it in my head, like the night before. Night before, laying in my, or a week before, or a month before. There was times where I was like, I don't know why I was like this, but there was times where 6 months ago, I thought about something I would say on the podium if this happened, and I win a race and snapping my fingers, it's just there on the top of my head, and I just say it. Like I always wanted to be, I wanted to win more than anything, but I wanted to be more than that. I wanted to really, I really wanted to give people a show.
Be an icon.
Yeah. And just do my best in all areas, and I love that part. I love the, I guess, kind of like the
showman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
What was your best podium comment?
My best podium comment? Well, I think I said, so Denver of 2023, that was my last podium in the 450 class. And, I was dealing with this nerve injury, which is one of the reasons why I retired, but this nerve injury in my arm where I wasn't able to really hold on to the bike that well. And 2022, I had missed all of 22 due to a torn ACL. And so 23, I came back, and I was I wasn't as good as I was. I wasn't like that elite guy anymore. I lost it. I kind of missed my window of opportunity. I wasn't healthy enough. But it got towards later in the championship. And like I said, durability is a skill, and to be out there is a skill. And we had lost a fair amount of guys due to injury at that point. So the field was definitely a lot thinner. But I was able to get on the podium. It was a huge moment. for me. And two of my friends that I race, like the two probably best friends I have in racing, which I've never really had a whole lot of friends in racing. It's just kind of the nature of the game.
Competitive.
But they were the first 2 spots ahead of me. And like these guys that I'd grown up with, we had trained at the same training facility. And on that podium, I remember I said, gosh, oh, now I'm losing it. What did I say? I said a winner is just a loser that kept trying.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Yeah, I probably stole that off a coffee mug or something.
It's so good.
But it hit hard, man. I had a little tear going down my eye. And
did you?
Yeah. Yeah. People come up to me all the time and they're like, they
like
talk
that
about
one.
that podium speech.
Oh, that's perfect. Well, yeah. I mean, there's a tactic with, I'm going back to the visualization now, but there's a strategy where you're like your perspective, writing, going through everything. And then there's a perspective from like a bird's eye view, like where it's not you, but you're watching you going through. How did you take both those, or was it always you on the bike?
I would love to sit here and say both, but it was always just first person for me. But I can tell you that recently, and we don't have to spend much time talking about this because our audiences will not be stoked, but I'm super into golf. It's like the one hobby that I found outside of racing that, that I can do. I never played any other sports growing up or anything. So it's kind of cool for me. And in visualization. Jeez Louise, I'm a broadcaster, folks.
I know it.
My goodness. But yeah, that's a big part of it.
Don't use that word this weekend.
Yeah, for real. Every once in a while, there's a word like that just,
I know.
Sometimes it just escapes your mind in the moment.
I just read my book, and there's like a certain like cadence of words that, well, when somebody, so I had quotes from Outliers, and how somebody else says something is not how I say something. So even though I see the words and I'm reading it, my brain is like, well, no, that's not how I say it.
Right.
I say it with these words in this order.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm looking at it, my brain will not say it. But anyway.
No, there's times, man, I keep a little notepad, like a little pocket in my pocket all the time with some bullet points, because every once in a while I'll be coming back from commercial break and I'll have something I want to say, and if just last second it'll leave my mind, right? It happened to me earlier in the year, and you're like, oh God.
I'm live.
Yeah, so you kind of have to learn to get around those little things.
So what was the golfing visualization?
Yeah, just visualizing the shot that you want to hit and seeing yourself do it, right? And just seeing myself do it. I've seen so many videos of me swinging the, in golf, you're always getting videos of your swinging, kind of analyzing, right? So I think it was just easier for me to visualize that. But my game, I just shot a 77 a couple weeks ago. It was my career best.
That's good.
In the rain. Like I told you, I was always good in the rain.
What was par?
72.
Okay.
Yeah.
5 over.
Yeah. It was a big deal. It was at my home course too. It's like a pretty difficult course. So it was a big moment for me. I'm still kind of riding the high a little bit.
That's a good effort for sure. Yeah. When I think about a lot of people, like, how we had that elk target at the bow rack and you were shooting it, and I was saying, aim small, miss small, that type of thing. So a lot of people visualize that where they're shooting the arrow. Where I've tried to do is, I want to see the perfect arrow hit right where I want, but I also want to see from above and see how I'm reacting, so I can see what I do, what the bull does, and see that whole process, just to give it even more power in my mind.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that works.
And has there been a moment for you where you're like, wow, like what I visualized was like so clearly happened? Have you had those moments?
Yeah,
where you're like,
it's just like, I saw this. I saw this happening.
This exact thing.
Yeah. And then, you get to a place where I think you get to where you make a perfect shot and you're like, yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be surprised. I'm surprised when it's not perfect.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's because when I first started, and maybe when you first started, if the arrow went where I wanted it to, I was surprised. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. Wow.
I didn't know that was going to, but now it's like, I'm surprised if it doesn't go perfect. So it's just that shift where,
I guess something that living with this, I guess I've always kind of viewed my life just, I kind of came up in my sport at the time. Social media was kind of coming to the forefront, and for whatever reason, I was doing well, but people labeled me this next big thing, and you're dealing with all this outside pressure, and I almost felt like I was living in a fishbowl. Of course, people can maybe even laugh when you hear something like that because it's dirt bike racing, right? But it's my world, right? And it felt like everybody was just looking at me, waiting for me to screw up. And I think that after living with that and carrying that for so long, I think it's almost taught me to let go of expectations, right? Like, and I think that's been the biggest thing that's been an improvement to my quality of life is just, even sitting down and doing this podcast, right? Like before, 5 years ago, I would have been like, man, I need to make sure that I do this and say this and it's just like, just more of an acceptance of just doing your best and accepting whatever that is. And that has been such and it's such a stark contrast from like what's been inside my mind for my whole life, right? And this is just a change that's happened in the last couple of years for me. But it's just added so much, allowed me to be so much more present, compare myself less. I always used to compare myself so much to, you shoot a buck and you go on Instagram and somebody's going to be shooting a bigger buck, right? It's just things like that where it's kind of got away from the expectations a little bit.
How'd that happen? What changed?
I think just hitting rock bottom. You get to a point where you're like, this can't get any worse. This couldn't be further off course than you are right now. And it's like, whoa, I'm still alive. Like the sun's still going to rise the next morning, right? Like my mom's still going to call me, tell me she loves me. I still got my friends, it's just, I think that it's like, I think for one, like it's great to have things that you care about a lot, right? It's not this mindset of like nothing matters, like this nihilistic thing. But it's just a way I guess I've found to get the most out of myself and just get the most enjoyment out of it. It's just, it's just allowed me to stay more present. It's just less stressful feeling like you have to do this, right? It's just less stressful.
For approval type.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you feel pressure calling the races?
Like I would say that I get nervous. Like I get nervous before we go live on the show. Once we get into it a little bit, I'm like, I'm kind of good to go, whatever. But no, I don't get super, I'm not like, back in the day, maybe I used to think like, oh man, well, what if this happens? What if this happens? Every once in a while, stuff like that would come into my mind. I never think about that now. I'm never like, what if I say this on air? Or what if I say the wrong thing? Right? I just, I guess I kind of have like a childish confidence that it's going to, like I'm just confident in the things that, that I can say. And I'm confident with the fact that my best is enough for me. If I do my best, there's nothing more I can do. And I think that perspective is only possible through life experience teaching you that. Right. And I think that's it. It's just ups and downs of life. Everybody has them. I've always just tried to do my best to learn from what life has given me. I love the term, listen to your life, like what it's trying to teach you. Yeah. And I think I'm stubborn. And, you've seen that saying where it's like, you will keep getting that same, like life will keep telling you that same thing until you finally learn and finally apply it. Right. And, I've seen my fair share of ups and downs, and I think, it just has allowed me to arrive in a place now where it's just, I just get the most out of things. I just enjoy my experience a lot more. Not that it's perfect, not that I'm like some monk or anything, but I just, I have a lot of fun.
No, it seems like it. It seems like you're like right where you need to be and right where you want to be.
Which is crazy. It really is crazy because, to be honest with you, if you were to show me my career on paper, like when I was 15, like of what I did in the sport now, and I can objectively say that now. I can look at what I did and be like really proud, like really genuinely proud of the things that I did, and I know I gave my best. But if I saw that paper when I was like 15 or 16, I would be like, no.
Not
like just
enough?
put a bullet in my head.
Really?
Right, basically.
No, because you thought...
I just thought that I was going to be the greatest ever. I won a championship. I wanted to win 16, you know? But like I told you, is growing up under those like kind of extreme circumstances, I told you at lunch, if I would have kept winning my rookie year, and all these behavioral patterns would have kept reaffirming themselves, this is the way, this is the way, this is the way. I can tell you that's not leading to anywhere good. And I promise, I see that so clearly. Like I see this buck on this wall right here. I mean, it's that clear to me. And it makes it's just like, there's just so much like magic, and it makes you feel like there's just so much magic in life, right? And I got trust in this guy.
Yeah.
It's got me taken care of.
No, and that's so powerful because, yeah, that's just a healthy perspective on looking at it. Because, of course, it's easy to say, I wanted to win the most ever and be the GOAT. It's super easy. Who wouldn't want that goal? Everybody has that goal. But it's not realistic.
Yeah.
And it's not healthy sometimes.
Definitely wasn't healthy. Definitely wasn't healthy for me. And I think who's to say, like, who am I to say that my life should go this way? Like, who am I?
Right.
I'm like this, you know, I'm not in control. I'm not in control of this. And so I think sometimes as a society in general, we want things to go a certain way. And when they don't, we dwell on, oh crap, you know, this happens, bad break or this or that, instead of focusing on like what I'm talking about now, like this perspective that it gave me, and just these, like I told you, these behavioral patterns that I was able to get out of. I was able to grow into a place where I enjoy my life now. I think we spend a lot of time dwelling on it, not going the way that we wanted it to. And I'm not going to lie, there was definitely times I was in that place. But it's the only way I would have learned to get here if I was there.
Yeah.
I was there long enough to where I was like, I'm not staying here. I'm not going to stay in this place. You know, I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah. And I think people hearing that from you is powerful, is the ultimate winner to be okay and say, maybe winning wasn't the best for me.
Yeah.
I mean, but hearing it from you, who everybody, I see the comments, I see the response, everybody looks up to, everybody respects. So for you to say that, it's, I think that's going to have a big impact on many.
Thank you. Thanks for giving me this platform too, man. This is great. Yeah, I've been so stoked. This whole day has been amazing.
I feel really lucky. I mean, I can't wait to watch you work up there.
Oh, you're going to have a blast, man.
Yeah. So speaking of that, you talked about some of the greatest riders of all time, you know, Ricky, Eli, you mentioned a few other guys. Who's the next generation, the next superstars coming up that you see?
The next superstars coming up pretty clear as day right now. So Jet Lawrence. He's from Australia. I believe he's only 21 years old, and I think he has 7 or 8 championships already.
Wow.
Came over here, went pro at 16, which happens not often. Doesn't, especially nowadays, it's a lot harder to go. You know, maybe back in the early 2000s, that was more normal, but the level is already so high now. So Jet Lawrence has come over here, and basically, he's done things on a motorcycle that we've never seen before. I mean, he dominated the 250cc class. He won Supercross championships, everything there is to win. Every championship there is to win, he won it. He got in the 450 class. His first, he moved from a 250 to a 450 kind of mid-season after Supercross in 2023. So 2023 Pro Motocross, his first move to Premier Class, won every single race. Perfect season, which has only happened twice before. Ricky Carmichael did it twice, 02 and 04, and James Stewart did it in 2008. But a 19-year-old kid went 23 and 0.
That's
his first season on a 450, which is like just monumental. It's insane. I don't think Jet is, you know, he's very popular in the sport right now. I don't think we talk about it enough. I mean, an unbelievable talent. Really, it's incredible. The way, I mean, it looks easy. When you watch him ride, it's like anybody can do that. But he just, it's insane. It's insane. And then, so he went down early the Supercross season, 4 or 5 rounds in with a torn ACL. So he's sidelined right now. Another guy that is a superstar already, but talk about superstar potential, like just in terms of like reaching a new audience, Hayden Deegan is maybe the best chance the sport has ever seen at having some mainstream play, right? I mean, this guy is made for TV. I mean, he's authentically himself. He's dominating the Supercross 250 Supercross West Championship right now. And that's kind of the one thing we were waiting around to see. He'd won an outdoor championship. He won the SMX World Championship, in the playoffs, those 3 races there. Won that season-long kind of race, but he has yet to win a Supercross championship. Came close last year, but right now he's dominating this series, and it looks like he's going to win. And he's just talk about guy will get on the point, kind of like UFC. Like he'll call people out. Like he'll be talking. I mean, he's talking
nowadays.
Oh yeah, talking crap on social media. He's just not scared at all. He's had a camera in his face. He's got millions of YouTube subscribers.
For his whole life, probably.
Yeah, 2 million followers on Instagram. You go by, you'll see this weekend in the pits at Seattle. You go by his rig, and there's 15 people lined up just to get a chance to look at him for a second, right? Like, so he's bringing this whole other. He could be in 8th place, and you follow like the cheers will follow him around the track. I mean, so just
superstar.
Brian Deegan. Brian Deegan is his dad. He's done great things on a dirt bike in his own right. Freestyle guy, won a Supercross race, but he's just played in terms of like marketing, and I think he's just done such a great job in doing that. And Hayden's really embraced it. And I always say it takes two things to go mainstream, to go superstar. So you got to win a lot, but you have to embrace the other stuff. Like you have to embrace the fans, you have to embrace the media and all that. And Hayden does that more than anybody else, I would say. So those between Hayden Deegan and Jet Lawrence, and Hayden Deegan is still in the 250 class. They don't race each other yet. But once Hayden moves up to the 450 class, to the premier class, it's going to be crazy. Then you have Chase Sexton, who's could win the Supercross championship this year. He's a good friend of mine. He's really good. Maybe physically the strongest guy you'd ever see. Looks like a semi truck out there. The guy's
Really?
built like a tank. Yeah. Ken Roxon's been around forever. Eli Tomac. That's like, he's we never know when he's going to retire. This could be his last year. Next year could be his last year. But everybody's a huge Eli Tomac fan.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I was telling you earlier. That thing about greatness, like. You be great long enough and everybody's just going to appreciate you.
Yeah.
And Eli's been great so long. He had his time, back in...
There'll be haters for a while.
Back in 2018, 2019, he had won a lot of outdoor championships, but never got the job done in Supercross. And he won the Supercross championship in 2020. And since then, it's just been like, he's become a fan favorite. Everybody appreciates him. And so we're kind of saying our farewells to him at some point over the next couple of years, but he's still competitive. Like, he got hurt this year. He broke his leg in Supercross. He'll be back, but he was good enough to win the championship this year. So it's kind of a cool moment for the sport, because you have these older guys, in their early 30s, which hasn't been that common in the past, racing, these guys in their early 20s, these Jet Lawrence types, right? You're seeing this clash of 2 generations. It's like 2 different ways of riding the bike. It's like, it's a clash of generations. So it's a cool time to be a fan now.
What ages people out? Because you're on a machine, but is it injuries?
It's injuries, but it's also I think it's just more than anything, it's the amount of work. I mean, the amount of work that you have to, the
you
schedule.
only take it for so long, or what?
Yeah, 31 races a year. It's a lot, it's a lot of time spent on a plane. It's just a lot of wear and tear on the body, but more so the mind, I think. Especially, it's a different story if you're a 5th to 10th place guy. You don't have the pressure of, I got to win, I got a podium, I got to win these championships. I mean, when you're in the championship hunt, that's a different level of pressure, right? And that can wear on you.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, like we had two of some of the greatest to ever do it, Ryan Villapoto and Ryan Dungey. Both of those guys won 4 Supercross championships in a row. Ryan Villapoto 2011 to 2014, and then Ryan Dungey 2015 to 2017, something like that, right? But they retired at 27, and they basically said, I can't deal with this anymore. Like, this is all too much, right?
Yeah.
So it's been cool that Eli's been able to kind of stick around longer. But more than anything, yes, it's injuries, but it's just the mental grind. Like it is a lot. Like what these guys do physically, mentally, everything. And I can say it as objectively as I possibly can. You know, of course, I grew up in it. I did it. But I mean, these are really some of the best athletes in the world. I mean, it's really incredible what guys like Jet, Eli, Chase, these guys, Hayden, I mean, what they're doing right now is pretty special.
Yeah, that's super interesting. But when you were saying that it takes both, it takes the winning and the personality, it made me think of Kawhi Leonard, who has been an amazing basketball player, but just can't get the fan, you know,
Right.
Doesn't talk, could never really ascend to that mainstream.
Some people want no part of it.
Yeah, and he's probably fine with it.
And you know what's funny? You know what's funny about this actually is that's Eli Tomac.
Oh, really?
I mean, that guy is all business. You see him smile a lot more now. You can tell he's a dad. He's got a family. He's accomplished everything there is to accomplish in the sport. Like I told you, the fan base loves him. So there's an element that his legacy is already secured. But just the last couple of years in general, he's become more personable and, you know, is much more inclined to hop on a podcast or do this or do that. But that's one of the reasons why people love him so much. I mean, I think regardless of whether you play in the media or not or whatever, people just appreciate people that are authentically themselves.
And if they're great.
Yeah, of course. And they're great. And Eli's been both. And he's the only guy that trains in Colorado. Like he's got his own, you know, in Durango, Colorado, I believe, just kind of out in the middle of nowhere, trains at altitude and kind of does his own thing. Doesn't really have a bunch of
bow hunts.
That's true. Yeah, I saw some comments on our post today. Got to get Eli on.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's an anomaly because people love him, but he's always kind of just done his own thing. And
that's cool though.
Yeah, it's super cool. I like it too. I like the idea of just showing up and doing your work. And he's done it his way.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Man, such an amazing discussion. I've loved every minute of it. I do want to. We got the dipshits over here that have questions for you.
Oh yeah,
this is the Muppet. Do you ever watch the Muppets?
No, can't say I have.
Those are just like, these guys are like Muppets, little puppets.
The Muppets.
So what do you guys got for our guest?
Okay, well, first, I think with all the editing Macy does, I would feel bad for not saying she's a huge fan.
We got to get a shout out. You got to give a shout out to Macy.
Shout out Macy.
Shout out Macy. You sound awesome.
Right here.
Macy, camera 17.
You're it. I love it. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, she's a big fan. She's gonna.
Is she coming this weekend?
I don't know if she is or not, but
we'll send her a jersey or something.
I want her to. I want this podcast up tomorrow. So
let's go.
I don't know. Did you guys have it uploaded yet?
Yeah, it's done.
Okay.
Yep.
Is it posted?
Yeah, people are loving it. We're actually live.
Amazing. This is fantastic news. My social media is going to be popping off.
Okay, so what do you guys got?
So I don't know if you've watched any of the other ones, but we kind of have a running bit here, and it's Marry Kill. So
oh wow. Okay.
Aggressive.
Your Marry Kill is Supercross, broadcasting, and golf.
Supercross, oh God. I'm Supercross. All day long.
Okay, good. Well, you got to marry somebody.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to do this, guys, but I guess I'm marrying broadcasting. I'm killing golf. It breaks my heart.
Yeah, I think
it breaks my heart. But I guess I'll find a new hobby. Maybe I'll be shooting these bows more often.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a tough decision there.
Okay, next question. What have you learned about the sport, looking at it from a different lens of broadcasting that maybe you didn't notice or didn't realize while you were in it as an athlete?
That's a fantastic question. And I think in a way I'm not even through my first season on this side of things, right? So even to start the year, it was different. I felt so at peace with retiring when I did, and I've never one time have thought to myself, oh man, I shouldn't have done that, or I should go back. I'm very happy with it. But it was weird to start the year. in this role, in a different role. And in a way, your emotions, it's the first time I'm around the races ever. And there's not as much emotion involved in it for me, right? Like
less pressure, right?
Yeah, it's less pressure, and you just view things, you just grow and you view things from a different lens. When you're in the moment, it just feels like the biggest thing in the world, right? And then kind of viewing it from this lens now, and just seeing it a different way. I don't know exactly what I've learned yet that I didn't already know. I guess I've just learned that I still am in love with the sport, because I think there was times where, we haven't talked about it much on here, and honestly, I don't even really want to, because that's all I seem to have talked about on every podcast the last few years, about this damn, every moto podcast, this damn this nerve injury that I had, but it kept me from doing my best the last couple of years, right? And so you go to the track every day and you're not sure what you're going to get. You're not sure if my work was compromised. I wasn't able to work as hard as I wanted to. And so it was really frustrating. And so there was times where I'm like, do I hate this? Yeah. Or do I just hate this? Do I just hate the situation, right? And I can look now and I can definitely say that I just hated that situation. You just hated being injured. I love dirt bikes.
You wanted to perform and you couldn't.
Exactly. I just wanted to do my best. Yeah. And I didn't have the opportunity to do that, which stung. Yeah. But I still love it. So that's what I've learned.
So you've kind of talked about the legacies of guys like Ricky Carmichael or James Stewart. What do you want your legacy to be beyond the track?
What's my legacy to be? I think I've always tried to carry myself in a way that has I've kept the gratitude involved. It's so easy when you're in it to kind of lose sight of how lucky you are to even have the opportunity to do it, right? So many things had to go right for me to end up on Kawasaki for 20 years, right? To have that opportunity to do something like that and to live my dream. Sometimes I would get lost in the fact that, oh man, it's not, gosh, I wish I would win more. Gosh, I wish this, I didn't get hurt here or whatever. But at the end of the day, how often do people get to live their absolute dream? From the time they're 4 or 5 years old, I got to do all of that. I've completely blanked out and lost. What was the question again?
Your legacy.
Oh, legacy. Yeah. I think my legacy, like I said, I always tried to just carry myself with a sense of gratitude. And my legacy is, I just want to be known for contributing to the sport. Like that guy just loved dirt bikes and brought a lot to our community. Really, I think really just contributing is such a big thing. I've tried to focus on the last few years, kind of as I've grown. It's just contributing to the community. And, I just want to be known as a net positive for dirt bike racing.
Well, it seems like you've accomplished that.
Good work. TBD.
You guys kind of talked about briefly the importance of announcers that have been in the sport, how some of them can actually carry over if they're well-spoken and can be great announcers. How important on the flip side of that is to also have the perspective of announcers that were never in the sport?
That's a great question. I'm not sure I have the right answer for that one. I don't know. I think having a fresh perspective is great. I'll give you an example. Sometimes I can be too in-depth. Like I can get a little bit too kind of speak into that hardcore fan a little bit, because it's so black and white for me. It's so obvious for me that I lose track that it's not so obvious for other people. And our producer to start the year didn't know a whole lot about dirt bikes, right? And so she was very helpful in being like, hey, you need to explain this a little bit more. So just I just love different perspectives. There's no right or, to a degree, there is objective right and wrong, right? But it's good to have a different perspective. And I think you can learn a lot from people and people that are outside of the sport, the way that they would like to receive information, or it teaches you how to explain things better to them, right? So I think everybody has a place, as long as they study up and they know what's going on out there, right? I think that's important as well. Yeah.
Okay. Last question. I asked you earlier about the tattoo you had of the astronaut. And you said it was for, I forgot the band name. What were they?
Brand new.
Brand new. So I want to know, maybe it's one of their songs, maybe it's not. But if you had one song to play during your entire career, what would it be?
The quiet things that no one ever knows, I think is the song it's called.
Do you know who it's by?
Brand new.
Oh, Brand New?
Come
Nice.
on, bro.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Were you talking about just Brand New or
No.
just a
I was
song
saying you
in
could choose
general?
Any
Yeah.
song.
The Middle, Jimmy Eat World. Hey, don't write yourself off yet. It's only in your head you feel left down and looked down on. Just try your best. Do everything you can. Something like that. It's a
like
good
it.
guitar riff in there.
Yeah. I like it. Good.
Sorry, I just probably hurt the listeners' ears there.
No. Good shit. We're live. They got to deal with it.
Oh, man. Are we live? Are we actually? Is that just a joke? Yeah, I figured.
But we don't have any edits, I don't think.
No.
So far, I mean, somehow. So Macy should be able to get this. I want to have this up before the weekend.
Well, should we start talking politics yet? We can get some edits in there real quick.
God, I know. Well, here's how I always end the show. With this, I hand off. Your
yes.
brand new Keep Hammering Hoyt.
Let's go.
What do you think of that?
I cannot. I when I was shooting this thing earlier, I had no idea it was going to be mine.
That's cool. I know.
This is incredible.
You're like, I'm going to buy one of these when I get home or whatever. Where can I go buy one? And
I
I'm
can't
like,
wait.
Bro, this is yours.
I've told you, my uncle is a huge fan, bunch of property up in Georgia. He's always trying to get me to go up there. He's big, loves shooting his bow. So now I got my own, man. This is amazing. You want me to pick it up or we just
No, you're good. But
this isn't, this whole thing is, honestly, man, this whole day has been so much fun. I really can't thank you enough for the hospitality. It's been incredible.
You know what else? I wanted to give a shout out. Kawasaki. You said you've been with them, was it 20 years?
20 years, 2004 to present. I'm an ambassador still with them. So
it's like, staying with the Lakers. I mean, that is rare in today's day and age. It's like, because I talked about sponsors and I've had longtime sponsors, but there's some times where you're like, man, do these guys appreciate me? And it seems like Kawasaki has always, you had a couple of years where you had rough years and they still stuck by you.
Yes.
That is incredible. I just wanted to say it's so rare in business for a company or a sponsor like Kawasaki to just stick with athletes like they have you.
No, it doesn't. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business.
Yeah.
Right. And the loyalty that they've showed me, like I said, I'll be Kawasaki till the day I die.
I love it.
They're my guys over there. So
I'm
glad we got that in.
they're
good people over there.
I haven't worked with a bunch of people over there, but Neil Stortz I have, and he's set me up with the side-by-side, help navigate this thing, getting me up to Supercross on Saturday. So Neil, thank you. But yeah, definitely shout out to Kawasaki.
Can't wait to have you on Race Day Live, man. It's going to be fun.
I'm pumped too. So this is also yours, which I don't think we talked about, but you got the whole goodie bag from the bow rack. Remember that?
Man, this day, I thought this day about a week ago was just a podcast, and I get this whole itinerary. We're hiking, we're shooting bows, goodie bags.
You got a brand new, so this is called...
No way.
Yeah, that's the Keep Hammering. I don't know what that is. Cameron Hames Pack Out Skinner. So
I want to do that. Can I do that?
You can do that.
Oh, apparently I'm soft. I don't want to hurt your table, man. I can't do it. Let's go. You think I can get this through?
Yeah.
Think I can get this through TSA? Shouldn't be a problem.
James would put it in his prison pocket, which is his ass.
Wow. Wow. On that note, let's wrap it up. No, I'm kidding. That's incredible.
So yeah, there's different ways people get it on the plane, but it's I just wanted to share. So what I like about the lift, run, shoot, and about having people down here sharing my life with people outside of my life. And so this means so much to me that you came down, did the mountain with me, went to the bow rack, did the podcast. We've had such a great day.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
Dude, I'm so thankful. I'm honored you're here. I know people are going to love this because everyone loves you. And this just means a lot to me. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much. This is probably the biggest podcast I've ever done. And it's been it's been great to spend the day with you guys. You're the real deal, man. So thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Well, hope you guys like this. We'll see you in Seattle. keep hammering.
Someone to blame, they sent their hate, it fuels my pace. I am Roy Tough, I am the change, the few endure. Feeling like can't